this is Julie, and congratulations because your dog is almost finished with a board and train. I'm making this video to show you the mechanics of the two main training tools we use at our facility, and you're going to be using going home. I'm making this video not only for you to refer back to once your dog comes home when you have a moment like, what did they say about that? Or how do you turn the flashlight on again? But also so we can spend less time on things like how to put the collar on and the mechanics of the collar at the go home session, and more time on the actual training of your specific dog. All right, so I have my model, Mr. Riggins here, and he's gonna show you the two main collars that we use. The first collar I'm gonna talk about is the Prong Collar. This collar, which I have 3 of them behind me, is only going to be used on the walk. It's not going to be on your dog inside the house. It's not going to be on your dog inside the crate, and it definitely should not be on your dog when your dog is playing with other dogs. There's 3 different sizes. Your dog is going to be sized and fitted on one that's going to be going home with you, so you don't have to worry about sizing and fitting. If your dog is coming to us as a puppy, we may be sending you home some extra links. That's the great thing about these collars, is that you can add and take away links as they grow or lose weight. The most common, and the one that most dogs will go home on, is a 2.25, which is this one. There's also a 3.0, which is this one, a little bit bigger. And there's also a micro. I sent one dog home on this, which is a tiny little Chihuahua. Usually dogs that are under 10 pounds will go home on this, and it's teeny tiny, and it's called a micro prong. Not for you. This is not sleep time, buddy. Okay. So we use one brand of prong collar here. If your dog comes in already on a prong, if it's not this brand, which is Herm Springer, we are going to swap it out. Every dog that comes through our program is included with a prong collar, so you're going to get one no matter what. It's also called a pinch collar, not because it pinches your dog's skin, but because you pinch the prongs to take it off and put it on. Every time you put it on and take it off your dog, you need to be taking it apart. It should never go over your dog's head. If it's going over your dog's head, it's too big, and you're doing it wrong. Grab a prong in the middle, doesn't matter which one. I just don't like using the end units. So grab any prong in the middle. You're going to move it out halfway. See how I created a little handle there? You're going to grab onto the handle with your thumb and first finger, pinch, and pull it apart. Then you're going to put it around your dog's neck. Hope you guys can see that. Pinch the prongs together and put it through the holes. What I just did. Pinch the prongs together. Start by putting one in one side, use that for leverage. Pinch and put it through the other. And it's together. It's one of those things where it kind of feels really hard and cumbersome the first time you do it, but if you practice a couple times in, you're going to be doing it in 2 seconds, and you could do it with your eyes closed. So once you get the prong collar on your dog, you can spin it around to where the rings, which are right here, are between their ears. Once you get the rings between their ears, you'll notice that there's 2 rings. One big ring, which is shaped like an O, and one like oval-shaped ring that swivels. The oval-shaped ring that swivels is where your leash will attach. It's very important. Do not attach your leash to the big ring. The other ring is for safety. We will show you at the go home, but you will be attaching a carabiner from the O-ring to either the e-collar or your dog's flat buckle collar. If for some reason this comes apart on your walk, which is very rare, but if somebody puts it on wrong, or maybe your dog rolls around and pops one of these off. Your leash is still attached to a collar on your dog. So it's basically just for safety, okay? So that's really it for the prong collar. Again, it's only used for the walk. Think of it like a steering wheel. It's used for directional guidance. Your e-collar is gonna be your main tool, but your leash has to attach to something on the walk, so you might as well have it be something that gives you control and not the flat buckle collar. The collar is actually designed not to choke your dog, not to hurt your dog. Even though it's not the prettiest collar, it's actually one of the most gentle collars out there, and it cannot hurt your dog. Okay, we are moving on to the remote collar, also called an e-collar. We use one brand here, e-collar Technologies, Mini Educator for 99% of the dogs. Occasionally we'll get a dog who has to go home on a boss, which is a little bit more powerful. But for most dogs that come through, Mini Educator, awesome collar. It works up to a half a mile away. It's got 100 levels. It has a flashlight. It's waterproof. It comes in all different colors. And so let me show you how to use it. When you open your box, it looks like this. You've got your collar, and there's a remote. There is also a lanyard, which can clip to your remote like that, and you can wear it as a necklace. There is also a charger. And you have got long hair contact points, which your dog will already have those on if we feel they need it. Under the tray in your box is an instruction manual, which is going to be telling you everything I'm going to be telling you in this video. The collar can be on your dog as long as you're supervising. I actually ask that for at least 3 months, this needs to be on your dog every time you are with your dog. If it's going to be on your dog more than 4 to 6 hours at a time, all we ask is that you switch sides. It goes at either 4 o'clock or 8 o'clock. All you need to do is move it from one side to the other. This is going to prevent your dog getting pressure sores. This is very rare. I've only seen this happen once, and the collar was left on extremely tight for a week. So switch your collar around. We've never had a problem with pressure sores, and that's because we rotate the collars and give the dog's skin a break. When the collar is not on your dog, it should be on the charger. Charger on the remote, charger on the receiver. Just like that. When you take the collar off the charger, it's going to look like this, blank. You are going to hold the on-off button down until the screen turns blue. Screen's blue, but you'll notice you're going to be pressing buttons and nothing is going through to your receiver. Notice the red light's turning on here, but not here. Every single time you need to sync the collar to the remote. The way that you do this is red dot here, red dot here, touch the two together until this turns yellow. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to touch the two together. It's yellow, and bring them apart. You can test this using the vibrate button, which is right here, the button that's alone. I'm going to tap the vibrate button, and you can see I can feel it vibrating, and the red lights are going off on both the collar and the receiver. Now I know my collar's synced. Now you can put the collar on your dog. This collar needs to be snug. If your collar is too loose, it won't get good contact with your dog's skin, and contact issues are the number one cause for failure. Your numbers will be higher, it'll be inconsistent, you'll use one number that won't work, and then your dog will turn its head and the contact touches the skin and it's too high. So how to prevent this is putting the collar on your dog nice and snug. It's gonna go 4 o'clock or 8 o'clock, so just a little off to the side. We do not want this over the trachea. This is not a bark collar, okay? So I'm gonna go a little off to the side here, and I'm gonna put my strap on, tighten it up, put it through the strap, and it's on my dog, okay? So if you notice the placement, it's a little off to the side. It's nice and snug. I can fit 2 fingers under it, but it's still, if I try to move it, his skin moves with it. That's how you can tell, okay? You don't want it so tight that they can't breathe, but you do not want it loose, okay? A loose collar, your numbers are gonna be way higher, gonna be inconsistent, so it needs to be nice and snug. We are gonna be teaching you all about the numbers and how to use it, when to hit the button, when to release the button, how high to go, when to use high numbers, when to use low numbers. You're gonna learn all of that at the go home session. This video was just to teach you how to turn it on, how to match the red dots, how to charge it, and you're good to go, okay? As far as the screen, this is a 1-dog unit, so there's always gonna be a 1D there. You do have the option of getting a second collar and making this a 2-dog unit, where it would be collar 1 and collar 2, okay? This is your stim button, okay? So I'm gonna take this down to a 1. Riggins cannot feel a 1. If I hit the stim button, it's gonna go to a level 1 on his collar. It's going to make a red light here and on the collar, so I'm holding it, and this will actually stay stimulating for up to 10 seconds as long as I'm holding it until I release. There is a safety. If I hold it, it will eventually go off. And it's off. You will not be using the vibrate button. We do not train any dogs on vibrate with the exception of a deaf dog. Vibrate I really only use to test if the collar's synced, okay? So there's 2 buttons on this side. This is your main stim button. Your red button is your boost, okay? That is kind of like your oh crap button. Let's say your dog is nice and calm, you're off-leash hiking, and you're working at a level 20, and all of a sudden it starts running after a squirrel. You don't have time to dial. You can hit the boost button, and that's gonna jump it up immediately. It's set when the collar comes to you to go 5 up. So if I have it on a 1, if I hit the red, it's gonna go up 5, making it a 6. You can set this to go up different numbers. We are gonna set this for you for your specific dog, depending on what we think would be helpful for you in those oh crap moments, okay? So, but the main button that you're using is the black stim button. Your dial right here goes from 0 to 100. 100 is gonna say hi, okay? It's pretty easy to use. You're gonna wanna go home and hold the collar in your hand and practice using this with one hand. Practice having your pointer finger on the stim button and dialing with your thumb. That's gonna be really helpful, especially if you're off-leash hiking or doing anything like that with your dog. You can lock the number. If you hold the dial down, now the number's locked. We don't recommend doing this. The number that is going to be used for your dog is never, ever going to be the same. There are so many variables. How tight is the collar? Is it making good contact with the skin? How excited is your dog? Is your dog really calm? Your numbers are gonna be low. Is your dog chasing after a squirrel? Your numbers are gonna be high, okay? So we recommend not locking this. If you accidentally lock it, all you have to do is hold it down again, and now it's unlocked. Another really important thing to remember is that you should always see the letter C there, okay? That stands for continuous. That means that as long as your finger is on this button, it's gonna give continuous pressure for 10 seconds, and then it'll go out. There's a tiny little button in the back right here that says MC, if that accidentally gets pushed and goes to M, that stands for momentary. So even if I hold this button down, watch the red light. That's all it goes for. Your dog is not going to feel that. So every now and then, somebody will call me and say, my dog stopped responding to the collar. And I will say, look at the screen, and if you see an M, you need to change that back to a C by pressing the MC button. Just like that, it's back to a C, okay? There is a flashlight on your dog's collar. If you tap the on-off button without holding it, one time gives you a strobe. Another time gives you a solid flashlight. Another time turns it off. If you hold the on-off button down, like that, it turns it off. And you can plug it in. You can also turn your collar off by lining up the red dots again. Turns red, now everything's off. Okay? Your collar is waterproof. This will float if it falls into water. Your numbers, if you're stimming your dog while they're swimming, will probably need to go up, okay, when they're in water. But that's really it about the remote collar. If this seems confusing to you, don't worry. You are going to be getting an e-collar PDF, which lays it out all in writing, and there's an instruction manual in there. And I promise you, it's a lot easier once you're actually holding it and using it. And you're going to fall in love with this thing, okay? It's your #1 way to communicate to your dog. Thank you guys for watching. I can't wait to see you at the go home session.